Time now for a look at the day's top business news, and for that I'm joined in the studio by Brian Quinn. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Haxie.
Brian, you're starting here in France. It's a day one of the country's it's day one of the country's second coronavirus lockdown. The economic effect, once again, expected to be rather severe.
That's right, Haxie. The French government expects economic activity to fall by around 15% during this second lockdown, and that is the most optimistic outlook. The French economy tanked by some 30% during the first lockdown this past spring. Paris is now hoping that lighter restrictions this time around will soften the blow, as factories and construction projects are now not required to shut down. Still, the government is rolling out a 15 billion euro support plan for business, with 7 billion going to the country's furlough scheme that pays idled employees 84% of their salaries. 6 billion going to a solidarity fund of direct aid for small and medium-sized companies, with 1 billion each for reducing social security charges and helping pay commercial rent. As ever, hospitality workers and the self-employed are likely to be hit the hardest. Here's what Economy Minister Bruno Le Maire is offering them.
All companies with less than 50 employees that have shut down will be exempt from paying social security contributions. As for tourism and event planning companies, when they lose 50% of their sales revenue, they will too be exempt from paying social security contributions. Deductions for self-employed workers will automatically be put on hold. They have no particular steps to take, and those who have to close shop will also benefit from a total exemption.
And Brian, many of those who are able to continue working are going to be doing so from home.
Yeah, millions of people across France are waking up today, getting ready to go nowhere, really. The return to lockdown means remote working wherever possible. Yana Lee takes a look at what that means for companies and employees.
Working from home is the norm once again in France. Some businesses were already prepared for the new rules on the eve of lockdown.
Alors nous, d'habitude ici on est 8-10 et à partir de demain il y aura plus personne ici.
The company develops software for self-driving cars. All the work can be done from home.
On manipule pas de choses et on reçoit pas de clients dans les locaux, donc on n'a pas besoin d'être ici tout le temps. Aujourd'hui, le télétravail pour nous c'est pas forcément une contrainte, mais c'est aussi une nouvelle manière de travailler, on va dire.
Employees at the small firm say they're ready to embrace the new normal.
Pour moi, c'est plutôt pratique. Je vais gagner à peu près 2 heures par jour au niveau des transports.
Le lien social va nous manquer un peu, mais on fait avec.
Since January, unions and 700 companies have signed collective agreements on work-from-home policies to create a legal framework for the practice. The head of this sales company, though, is reluctant. He fears that a 100% work-from-home rule could have negative consequences for his business.
Le service commercial, effectivement, est une fonction qui permet le télétravail. Néanmoins, quand on fait du business, il faut voir ses clients.
The executive has no choice but to adapt. Employment law experts warn that the rules are the rules.
Les entreprises qui ne mettent pas leurs salariés en télétravail alors qu'elles le peuvent risquent de devoir verser aux salariés concernés des dommages et intérêts.
Businesses could also be taken to criminal court for reckless endangerment of others.
And France, of course, isn't the only country shutting down its economy in a bid to help fight the virus. Germany, too, is entering a second partial lockdown as of the 2nd of November.
That's right, actually. German cultural, leisure, and hospitality sectors all under order to close as of Monday. The country is expected to announce a strong rebound in third quarter economic activity after a 10% drop in quarter two. That good news, though, is unlikely to last. Hospitality trade groups are warning that up to a third of German hotels and restaurants could go out of business permanently by the end of the year. Like Paris, Berlin has unveiled a raft of targeted aid for the hardest hit companies, with 10 billion euros in furlough pay support and emergency loans for self-employed workers and small businesses during the month of November alone. Here's Economy Minister Peter Altmaier.
Es ist für mich ein Gebot der gesamtstaatlichen Solidarität, ein selbstverständliches Gebot der gesamtstaatlichen Solidarität, dass wir für diese Unternehmen, denen wir die Einschränkungen nicht ersparen konnten, weil es darum geht, gesamtstaatlich und gesamtgesellschaftlich die Zahl der Kontakte zu reduzieren.
And Brian, let's check in now on the day's trading action. What are we seeing on the markets?
Asian indexes are marking some significant losses on Friday, despite a winning session on Wall Street. A mixed bag of earnings reports in the tech sector, rattling investors as a 16% drop in iPhone sales sent shares in Asian suppliers to Apple sinking. Nikkei in Tokyo down around 1.5%, Shanghai in similar territory. Hong Kong's Hang Seng down around 1.8%, while the Kospi in Seoul is down a full 2.5%, just ahead of the close there.
And Brian, finally for business, Amazon has arrived in Sweden and it's off to a rather shaky start.
The e-commerce giant's Swedish outlet is its first in Scandinavia, and it's true that it has not made the best impression so far. First of all, the main site's country selection menu featured the Argentine flag instead of the Swedish one. Then there's the translations, which appeared to have been run straight through an internet translator without much verification. The Nintendo Switch console listed as the Nintendo Circuit Breaker, that is one of the few mistakes that are repeatable on a family channel such as this one, Haxi. Many of them ended up as rather vulgar anatomical references. I'll let you research that by yourself if you like to. Plenty of Swedish observers pointing out that it probably wasn't even worth the trouble for Amazon, since, as I can attest, most Swedes speak English better than us native speakers anyway, so they're most quite comfortable using that site. I'm sure at least some got a good bit of a chuckle out of it, hopefully.
And I'm hoping to when I do look for all of those a little later myself. Brian Quinn with the Business News, thank you very much.